You would have seen the Police Minister Bheki Cele in Wesbury in Joburg yesterday speaking to members of the community there after that spate of gang violence. The Minister promising to saturate the area with police officers. But this strategy has been tried before in Wesbury. Dereleen James is an anti-drug activist. She works with communities in Gauteng. Dereleen, good afternoon to you. I mean, members of the Wesbury community really angry with the Police Minister yesterday. Do you think the Minister understands what's happening there?
I don't think they have a clue as to what is happening. They know what the problems are, but they don't know how to respond to the problems. And that is really worrisome at this point, and also very frustrating considering that we have been journeying and ranting and raving for years on end. Why
do you believe they don't understand the problem? I mean, these are people who are professionals in police work.
Yeah, well, I think I just look at what has transpired over the past few years, and it's not the first time that the minister visits that area. Exactly like what has happened in Eldorado Park back then in 2013 when I authored the letter to the president highlighting exactly the similar challenges, and they came out guns blazing. They came out with an entire stance show similar to what was in Wesbury yesterday. They've also done it previously in Wesbury, but they just don't know how to actually come up with an unconventional plan for Wesbury other than the ordinary day-to-day policing. Because clearly what is unfolding in that community requires a lot more than visible policing and requires a lot more than a show of vehicles, a show of horses and boats and all of that. You know, what is the plan to build the trust between the community and SAPS? Who do we keep accountable for the many deaths in the area? What is the sustainable plan over and above 3 months? Those are the things and the questions that the minister needs to be telling the community.
I mean, these are difficult issues. Drugs has become such a big issue in our society, violence too, over the last 2 years. Is there any kind of sort of community policing approach, any particular approach you think the police need to try? From what you say, just saturating the area with police isn't going to work.
I think what you see playing out in our communities is as a result of marginalization, the socio-economic circumstances in our community. So having SAPS come out and respond to such issues won't yield the relevant results. What you do need is the implementation of the National Drug Master Plan that speaks to a synergy between various departments, which is your Department of Social Development, your Department of Education, Economic Development, SAPS, Justice. Everyone has a role to play. For as long as you go into communities in silos as departments, we will not see the impact.
So, I mean, okay, you need a comprehensive approach. Do you need more undercover officers? Do we need somehow to restore closer links to the community? Clearly, there's a problem with a lack of trust somehow.
Yes, definitely. I think an intelligence-driven operation is needed. I think that is why I asked actually in one of the questions that I was speaking to one of the community leaders, I said, what is the plan to gather intelligence in this community? All good and well, you have all of these boots on the ground, but what are they going to do? Are they just going to be driving around up and down, wasting taxpayers' money? I said, what are they going to do about the trauma that the community has experienced? Where is DSD, to deal with trauma that the community has been experiencing? Like I said, this isn't just something that happened yesterday or the past year. This is historic when it comes to Wesbury, and a lot more needs to be done than just a show and a display of cars and sirens going off. And they actually know it. There's been no development in that area and many other areas across South Africa. And this is why you see so many social ills. And this is why our youngsters are resorting to belonging to gangs in these areas, because there's just no opportunities there.
Dereleen, I don't know if this is an issue or not, but my understanding is that members of the community raised issues around identity, and particularly talking about themselves as they describe themselves as coloured people, saying that they have been particularly neglected in recent years. Is that an issue here? I imagine there are many communities that feel neglected right now, but is that an issue in Wesbury, do you think?
That's definitely an issue. As much as one wants to one cannot shy away from that reality. I mean, you've had various heads of state going into that area. Back then, I think it was the former Premier, David Makuru, that actually went in there and he admitted to actually marginalization and saying that the colored community has been marginalized. Not much has been done in these communities. And hence you see, what is unfolding there.
So, I mean, how do we resolve that? Because we hear other members, people who describe themselves as coloured, making the same complaint in many different parts of the country. I mean, is government not listening? Is there something else going on? Is there no group of people representing them in national discussions, maybe?
I think at this point we give up because we've had roundtable discussions with all three spheres of government. We've had discussions with local, with provincial, with national. We've highlighted the issues, the plight over the past 10 years. I just at this point think that government is not capable of governing this country and our communities. And this is a reflection of government's inability to govern and to serve and to protect and actually to fulfill their mandate. There's no political will coming through in our communities. Like I'm saying, I would love to be optimistic and be more hopeful about yesterday's intervention. But the many failed promises over the years and coming in at this point and not even saying to us, we're going to have designated investigating officers right now. We're going to give feedback daily to the community in terms of what the many boots on the ground has done in the area. We're going to be calling in Department of Social Development. We will ensure that the schools are safe. All of those are tangible things that can be done. And no such mention. It's like just we cannot share our safety plan with the community. We understand that, but there are also certain things that you can say to actually just give the community a little bit of peace of mind.
Dereleen James, thank you, an anti-drugs activist. Really do appreciate the time.